The next generation of video game consoles is led by the two juggernauts, Sony and Microsoft. Sony with its infamous PlayStation 5, and Microsoft, interestingly enough, with two next generation consoles, the Xbox Series X and S. During the lockdown era, we have experienced that our entertainment has shifted towards the indoors. Movies and the blockbuster video games like Fortnite and PUBG and so many more. We are now focused on experiencing the most while sitting at home safely as we should be. So now we have a continued focus and continued interest on what Sony and Microsoft are planning to do. And because of the lockdown as well, we have a renewed sense of financial responsibility. We want the best performance to cost ratio. We want as much performance as possible to the lowest cost that is available. So, I think Microsoft acknowledged that and followed the same trend that mobile phones have been pursuing, trying to put down the price and up the performance as much as possible. They have made a plan to release two consoles, the Xbox Series X priced at $499 and the Xbox Series S priced at $299. So the Xbox Series S, our topic for today, is an interesting one. What Microsoft, I feel, have done is they designed and priced a product to reach as many people as possible, to bring the next generation experience to the widest range of people because of that price, $299. When you think about other new devices that are supposedly next generation, they all come with a much higher price tag. And what Microsoft have done is they presented a package that is so appealing to people who are very sensitive to how much they want to spend during these tough times. But they didn't forget about the people who want the best of everything. They still have the Series X that is priced $200 more at $499, that provides everything we expect from the next generation console. 120 frames per second gaming, 4K support, ray tracing, SSD storage and faster everything, seamless game switching and so many more features. But now you have to wonder, just like I wondered, why release a cheaper Xbox if it's not gonna be appealing because it's basically the current Xbox? Well, it's not. I think Xbox have made a strategy, a very smart one, to remove every feature that is an extra thing. Everything that is extra, we'd remove so that we can cut down the price. And what are these things? One is 4K gaming. Microsoft opted to reduce the maximum resolution to 1440p, a bit higher than 1080, because they think that majority of the people will game on smaller TVs or monitors, and it doesn't really affect the quality of the game if it's not 4K. One thing they didn't cut is the 120 frames per second. Although they say it's a variable refresh rate, it still can do it 120 frames per second. What they also cut is the storage capability, where it has half a terabyte instead of the full terabyte that the Big Brother has. And even though they cut on the storage itself, the technology is still as fast as the big expensive counterpart. The processor is the same, but they have reduced the performance of the GPU. One thing that is strikingly different is the design. The S series, the cheaper model, is way smaller than the big model, where approximately 3 S's can fit inside one X series Xbox. And it is compared to half a PlayStation 4, the current design. And that makes it a more compact design that is appealing to as many customers as possible. And I feel like that's a really smart thing to do, to make a strategy that if I want to make a device, I'll make 2 versions of it. One is targeted to the budget-oriented, performance to cost ratio minded person, and the other is for the tech and gaming enthusiast who wants the best of everything, which is smart. It is basically what phone manufacturers are doing with their phones, where they release the Pro and the non-Pro, and you get to choose, and both carry the same amazing software with it. And in this case, the games will be the same. But this drags me to a different point, which is, what the hell will PlayStation do? According to rumors, PlayStation 5 will be reduced in price because that's the advantage they get to being quiet all this time. They get to wait and see how people react to the pricing of the Microsoft product, and then they can adjust. And apparently they are going to adjust by reducing the PlayStation 5 price. The price of the Sony device has been centered around memes for how expensive people think it might be, but now since they have two devices, one that is digital only and one that has the physical disk drive, maybe they will price one significantly lower than the other to try and compete with Xbox's plans. And maybe that strategy actually succeeds and they beat Xbox again, just like how they did with sales internationally with the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One. The highlight of this subject in my head is, now we feel like we have the power. If we want a more cost-effective device, we have it. And if we want a more performance-based device, we have it. And there is no negative takeaway from Xbox releasing two devices. They put pressure on Sony to reduce their own prices, and they have more options for everyone to choose from. A big win for us, in my opinion. But now we'll have to wait for these devices to actually get released, to see how they look and how they perform, and of course, to compare them when it's time. Until then, we'll be waiting.